What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. And reserved for the best is super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at @6th_element_comic. We do live auctions, live claim sales. I rock with Tooth and Claw, hit animated television series. The Scotty Young joint, blowing up fast. X-23. So this is dope, man. All right, so this is beautiful. There it is. Salute everybody. Welcome to Sixth Element of Hip Hop. I'm Pino Noir, my co-host Stu Dog, and we have four very special guests today. And shout out to the chat right now, Multiverse Comics Parade. What's good, brother? So today we have Tim Davis, Christian, Nem, and Caleb, all authors of the amazing Sci-Fi Anthology Perspective by Any One World, a part of ASAP Comics UK. And this book is selling, I guess, as a charity for dyspraxia.
Yep.
So one of you guys, what is dyspraxia first?
It's a condition that can be in children or adults. It affects the nervous system, your ability to concentrate, ability to control your muscles, fine motor control, things like that. And there's no real cure for it. It's something you have to learn to live with. There's a lot of therapy and stuff that goes along with it on how to make sure that you control your muscles. You learn how you're going to go through therapy to learn how to do things that a lot of us would take for granted. Some of those things can be very challenging, such as tying your shoes. You got to learn how to be able to do that fine motor control and things like that. So yeah, so right. This the founder of ASAP Comics, his son Alfie, a great kid, really brave kid, has dyspraxia, and so this first anthology for Any One World was for Dyspraxia Foundation UK, and we're planning a second perspective next year for a different charity. So this is going to be an annual thing. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Man. Yeah, I had never heard of it.
And for all of you nerds out there, dyspraxia is a neurological disorder which severely limits your motor synaptic skills. And that's for all the nerds out there.
They want the scientific.
Yes, that's for all the nerds out there. We also get down that way too. So, but I think it's great that you guys are doing it.
I thought it was like dyslexia or something like that. So very different than dyslexia, but very important. This is bringing awareness to something that most people might not have heard of. And Christian, that's all right, man. You keep dropping out, pop back in. Don't worry about it. No worries.
Yeah, dyspraxia is definitely. You don't hear about it much, and you don't hear about a lot of neurological disorders. Regardless to how big or small. I think that as a society that we live in, the United States, we should be more aware of such things and helping out. If you got $1 a person, 50 cents a person, you could fund a lot, going towards research to help, cure some of these things, or even find a workaround so it could be livable. We found something treatable for hepatitis C. That means we can find something treatable for anything, because for a long time they thought hepatitis C was just untreatable. Like, it was nothing we could do about it. But with money, research, and time, we found a workaround.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Now, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say, I definitely agree with you guys. I hadn't heard of it before I met, and Alfie. You can see for ASAP's there, Alfie's an incredible kid. He's an absolute hero, and what he goes through every day, and he just plugs away with it. And he's one of many people around the world. And like you said, I'd never heard of it. And it's like, once you hear about it, you're like, yeah, we got to do something about this. And so that's one of the cool things about this book is that all of the authors did their stories for free. So nobody took any money for this at all. All the proceeds went to the foundation, so.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Alfie, man. Definite hero.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hero.
Big shout out to Alfie, man. Shout out to the people in the chat. Cooks, OG Lee, what's up, everybody? And Lance was on Monday. Great guy. Also one of the ASAP Comics UK team. So yeah, it's good to kind of have the whole team, a lot of more of the team, rather I say. So we'll be talking to you guys actually every Wednesday for like the next couple Wednesdays. We'll have somebody on here from your crew. Cool. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is great. This is absolutely wonderful. I mean, this is the Anyone world, which is kind of the expanded part of ASAP Comics. And then I have the pleasure of also being part of the ASAP Comics main continuity. So I write for the main continuity as well. So, and then we've got ASAP minis. We got all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, come check us out on the websites, ASAP Comics UK. .com and anyoneworld.com. It's all kicking off there. And Anyone World is blowing up. You got Perspectives, but you also had Big Book of Bob from Lance Lucero, who was just there. Right. That's out.
Yeah, that was good.
Malcolm Wong has Dog Eaters out. So there's all sorts of stuff. So yeah, go check it out. And I'm done with my contractual plugs. So no.
Man, I thought it was you all this time that I've been talking to on Instagram. So who? Yeah, no, I mean all this because I met you on Cooks. You were on Cooks 24's podcast. Shout out to Cooks 24 podcast on Instagram, and we started talking. And I started talking with someone. I thought it was you. So I guess I have not seen the face of who I've been talking to. Yeah, but we will see him. We will see him next week from next Wednesday. So
yeah, I'm just getting my Instagram back up. My Instagram has kind of been inactive for a while because I've had I went to like WonderCon a while ago and put up a bunch of cosplay. And then my wife caught me with a very well-endowed Zatanna that I took a picture with, and she wasn't too happy about that.
So, speaking of well-endowed, I just saw this great picture of She-Hulk. That is, she's winking at us, but yeah, she just tweeted. I guess she's going to be She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah, man. So guys, this is a sci-fi anthology. What got you guys into sci-fi? How long have you been into sci-fi? Are you big sci-fi heads? I guess we could go around the thing. We'll start with Tim and go down Christian over to Nem and then to Caleb. Tim,
what got you just so you know, there's a guy like with a power tool outside of my apartment. So if you hear like a saw in the background, it's probably that.
Okay. If it gets real loud, you can just mute your mic if you want.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember when I got into sci-fi. I've been into it for so long, but I like there's not a time in my life when I don't remember having seen like the Alien movies and the Terminator movies and the Predator movies. They've just, and Star Wars, of course, those things have just been with me so long that, yeah, man, just
because for me, like I know my dad showed me Star Wars when I was a little kid. Like I remember that it was on HBO. It was on like all the channels at once. They were playing Star Wars like on every channel at this time. It was like early 80s, like 83 or something like that. But yeah, that's so Christian, what about you?
Kind of the same thing. I kind of grew up on it. I don't really remember a time when I wasn't into it, even from like, I think Jurassic Park, right? I guess is technically sci-fi, especially if you're reading the books and stuff.
Sure,
and
I was like,
yeah, right. So it's like I was 5 years old and going to the theater as like my first theater experience. I kind of remember. And then you have obviously the Star Wars, and they just kind of built that foundation. And from there, it kind of just hasn't really stopped up until now, and now I'm trying to write my own. So yeah, kind of the same thing. Cool. Just kind of always been into it.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're talking sci-fi. Star Wars is getting into my next question. But Nem, when did you get into sci-fi?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit older, or seasoned, as cooks like to say. Yeah. For me, it was always, we used to come home. I grew up in the LA area. I'd come home in the 70s from school, and on Channel 5 in the afternoon was always reruns of Star Trek and then Twilight Zone. So it's like Star Trek and Twilight Zone every day. And then the one that really grabbed me, of course, is my parents. I had no idea what this movie was about. 7 years old, my parents took me to go see Star Wars in the theaters, and there were like 800 billion people lined up outside the mall. So that was the one that just cemented it all. So,
yep. Caleb, how about you, man?
There's 5 films that I think kind of like solidified my general foundation, I guess, for all this. Obviously, just about all Star Wars, yeah. So you got that, but then also Jason and the Argonauts, Clash of the Titans, Sinbad. I can't remember. It was the one with the Cyclops.
The seven voyages of Sinbad.
Yeah,
and
great
then
movie.
That the animated film, the Hobbit.
Oh yeah,
like those were like I don't know. I just watched the hell out of those when I was younger.
So there we get into my next question. You're talking mostly fantasy, right? So there's this genre where it's sci-fi / fantasy, and so fantasy gets lumped in with sci-fi. But then you have, and then which Star Wars kind of it goes right in the middle of those two. But a lot of people, a lot of serious sci-fi heads, don't consider Star Wars sci-fi. Their argument is that sci-fi is when you take actual things that could potentially be made or done in the future or whatnot into actual science, but it's fiction still, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea before there were submarines, or you know what I mean? Like he was doing stuff that hadn't been done yet, but it was feasible. Whereas Star Wars is doing a lot that's just not ever going to be possible, right? So do you guys consider Star Wars sci-fi? And I guess you do. You kind of all answered the question. So you guys definitely see Star Wars as sci-fi.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there's an extent to where I think there's a very strong argument that Star Wars is really a fantasy story in science fiction drag, because it really plays on like the hero with 1,000 faces, and like kind of it's almost like a King Arthur story in some ways. It's just there are lasers and spaceships instead of outright dragons and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, if you really want to put labels on it, I guess you would say it's more fantasy than sci-fi. But I think people that want to label stuff like that are the same people that are like, they're somewhere drinking brandy and smoking cigars and talking about the intellectual underpinnings of Dune. So
right. No, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that's kind of
true.
That's true. That's exactly what I was going to say. It was just like it kind of depends on who I'm talking to, right? If I'm just kind of giving myself an overall like explanation, like Star Wars is sci-fi, here's this fantasy, and just kind of lump it all. But like you said, if people really want to start splitting hairs about it and like starting getting into what hard sci-fi is versus sci-fi versus sci-fi fantasy, I'll talk to you about it and stuff. But yeah, if I'm just talking, like casually, Star Wars is sci-fi, and then it becomes fantasy as we start getting really details about it.
I'm glad, man. We are definitely kindred spirits. I just had to make sure I kind of had to get that out of the way before we went forward. Like sci-fi writers.
Only in today's society do we. I don't understand why now we got to just separate everything. I got kids and they're millennials, but they're old enough but they always ask like, all right, I dare any of you guys to play an old Nintendo game in front of your children if you have children, right? When we were children, we just accepted it for what it was. I was playing Punch Out in front of my kids one day, and they were like, "Dad, why is he so little? Little Mac, he got to jump up to beat the other. Like, what is going on?" Like, I said, "Look, it doesn't matter. He's fighting and it works. The mechanics are good, and I'm having fun. Why does it matter? Why do you have to ask so many questions? Sci-fi is sci-fi. Anything that has to do with anything that's better than technology that we're using now, where you can beam onto a planet, or you can travel at light speed, or you can just pull out a lightsaber and just chop somebody's hand off and watch it fall with another lightsaber down a shaft, or you got a Wookiee as a co-pilot. That's sci-fi. Because you don't have it in real life. So that's sci-fi.
You're taking this way too seriously. If you really want me to blow your mind, look at this giant yellow ball eating white dots. That's goes
right. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't understand why we had to get so technical about it. In today's society, like I don't understand why society did get so technical. Good stories are good stories, whether they're sci-fi, whether they're fiction. Because when we were growing up, it was either fiction or non-fiction. Am I right?
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. That's all. That's what we had. It was either fiction and non-fiction, or, or sci-fi. It was fiction, non-fiction, and sci-fi. That's it.
There were things like Isaac Asimov or Ray Bradbury that were like definitely science fiction, but a lot of those were like, I mean,
that's way out there. That's
Caleb. What were Caleb, I think you were going to start to say something a couple of times. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, mostly what I would do is just try to get them to say what they would consider sci-fi, and then compare it to, all right, Star Wars versus Star Trek. Like, if you're questioning the Force, then I'd question the ability to translocate people and things like that.
Right.
So what's your definition at that point? What's the
Lance said that? Yeah, he said
fantasy is more past related, whereas science fiction is more future related. That's how I would.
Right.
If I had to break it up, that's how I.
Right. If you broke it down, right. I can
fantasy
see that.
like medieval-ish and sci-fi.
Right. Fantasy. Right. I always thought fantasy was like more medievalish or more like King Arthur. That's what I always thought.
Monsters,
like Kristen said,
monsters and dragons,
Jurassic Park has nothing to do with space, right? But it's still science fiction because they're bringing dinosaurs back to life, and it's just very. Lance said Star Wars, sci-fi, Star Trek, fantasy. I would have said the opposite.
Well, I will say right now, if you want to jump into a whole pit of despair, you start calling me. You get in between Star Trek people and Star Wars people. That's all.
Stu, you're a
both,
Star Trek guy. Well,
I'm a big Trekkie, man. I'm a big Trek fan, man. I'm a Trekkie, man. But I love Star Wars, man. I like Star. I watch it. I love it. I don't, because now you got YouTube videos where they'll pit Star Wars technology against Star Trek technology. It's just.
You've seen them make the lightsabers.
I'm a scruffy nerf herder at heart, but I appreciate Star Trek as well. So.
Scruffy nerf herders unite.
Scruffy nerf herders. Never really got into Star Trek. I'll admit it just out loud.
Neither did I, Tim. You're not alone. It was my dad's thing. Like, he liked Star Trek, and I was like Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Wait a minute. That's a bunch of Bantan Poodoo. Everybody likes Star Trek. You just got to sit down and watch it. That's all. It's you know what? The best way I can describe Star Trek, and I'm being a fan. I'm gonna be honest, being a straight hardcore 100% fan of Star Trek. The best way I can describe it to anybody in layman's terms is, imagine a soap opera that just took place in outer space and they had cool technology to go with. That's pretty much. That's pretty much Star Trek. That's Star Trek in a nutshell.
Well, and I guess the last thing I would say is all the people that want to say that sci-fi is different from fantasy because you got swords, you got elves, you got this or whatever. If you're into Warhammer 40K, you got all that. It's just in a sci-fi setting.
Or Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Right. Shadowrun. Yeah. Right. No, you're right.
Well, and I think George R.R. Martin, who wrote the Game of Thrones book, said that he considered science fiction and fantasy to be two different flavors of ice cream, but they're still both ice cream,
Right.
That's true.
And you just brought up a quote, from Isaac Asimov. One of your viewers brought up a great quote about, what Isaac Asimov said about fantasy or magic and technology. Which
that is my boss Josh at Endless Mile Studios is watching. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, so that's a great point right there. So
yeah, for sure. And Isaac Asimov is definitely one of the greats of all time.
I don't know if it's technology or magic, but somebody keeps getting Christian and knocking him out. So
right.
The internet.
It's dark magic. It's dark magic at work. Dark magic at work.
The closest I've gotten to Star Trek is Galaxy Quest. It's about as close as I've gotten.
Yeah, right.
Galaxy Quest is awesome. So that's
I have seen Wrath of Khan. I liked Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan, I remember that. Like I saw the movies. I remember the one where they came back to like the 80s and like the whales and all of that. They were trying to save
the voyage. That was the voyage home. Yeah, that was the voyage home.
Right.
Whoa, Reno, you talking about it like it?
No, but now the new Star
They were trying to give a message. It was saying if you keep hunting the whales that we don't have anymore, some aliens are gonna come and want to talk to them, and we ain't gonna have no whales to talk to them, and then we're gonna get hurt. We're gonna get hurt. We're gonna get hurt in the process because we didn't save the whales. So
us,
save the whales
humans.
because one day aliens might come to this planet and they're gonna be the only ones that can communicate with the aliens, and they'll say, "Hey, these people are cool. They stopped hunting us years ago, so don't kill them all. Don't kill them."
Now I could sell that as a fantasy story right there. So.
I'd write the opposite end. I'd write the aliens come here and they're pissed off that there's aliens. I mean, that there's whales, and start fighting us. And be like, well, you should have got rid of all these damn whales.
Hey, they're a nuisance. They're a scourge.
They're really loud, and they try to talk to each other from a long distance. It's really annoying.
Man.
So, to get rid of
the water. So would the aliens be like that neighbor who's like, "Keep it down, you crazy kids"?
Mm-hmm.
They saw this
Greenpeace.
out.
Yeah.
We've been hearing these whales for like solar systems. We've been tracking these bastards down.
Right. So what? Okay, now out of the four of you guys, what is your favorite sci-fi movie, film, whatever show? Tim, go.
Ooh, okay. So it's probably going to change in a week, but right now, when I'm on the spot, I'm going to say the first 3 Alien films with Sigourney Weaver are probably my favorite science fiction thing right now.
You can do that. You can do a trilogy. Sure. You can do a trilogy.
That's a tough.
All right.
That's a tough.
They're all just sort of tied because I think they're all, even the third one, which isn't particularly well loved, I think has a lot going for it and is sort of underrated. And they're all like equal merit in my mind. Yeah.
Nice. You like do you like the Prometheus stuff?
I liked Alien Covenant more than Prometheus, but I think my favorite thing of those 2 movies is Michael Fassbender as David. I think he's a great character, even though there are other aspects of those 2 films that don't really work for me. Yeah.
Right. Christian, all right, favorite sci-fi.
Oh man, Alien's definitely up there for me too. And then I just go back and forth between so many. There's Interstellar I really liked with how that just blew me away and just really put into perspective like the entire why space is really horrible and horrifying, I guess, and so I like that. And then you have 2001 A Space Odyssey, you've got your Blade Runners, just all these. I like to bounce around, but I think my favorite mix though is sci-fi horror when that can mix together, just like Alien.
Sci-fi horror, so like Alien.
Those two mixed together, are just right there for me. That's my chef's kiss.
What's another good sci-fi horror? What, The Thing? Is it? Yeah.
All right, it was real popular.
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. That's very much horror.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good. I did enjoy that.
Did any of you guys ever see that movie Pandorum that didn't get a lot of attention at the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sci-fi heads got to know that. Nim, favorite sci-fi, go.
Well, runner-up, I have to give it to a series, which is Firefly. Love that series. My favorite is, without a doubt, Blade Runner. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's kind of, the story I wrote from Perspectives borrows off of that kind of idea, noir and nebulous motives with everybody and everything that's going on. And I just love that whole idea and near future and far future technology and exploring what the possibilities are. So I love that. And I thought Blade Runner 2049 was really good as well. So
yeah, that was great too. Do you know, did you read this?
Yes, by Philip Dick. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, inspiration for Blade Runner.
Yeah.
That's what it came. And very different. Not as cool. Not as cool. But all right, Caleb, go. Favorite sci-fi.
I'm gonna break away from the film area.
You can go fantasy, and you can break away. Yeah, comic, whatever you want to do.
I'll go video game. Dead Space.
Ooh.
Oh, I love this. And they're remaking that. We're getting a remake HD edition. Yes, I can't wait.
My brother, like everything. Like they're talking about doing this, and they're talking about doing this.
Yeah.
They're talking about remaking it, and then they're also making a new one as well. So it's like,
so
I can't wait.
I missed the assignment. I would say video games because Dead Space for sure for me too, man. Just that game, it started to taper off a bit, but like that first game just really.
I still love old Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
That's still my favorite.
One of the best stories I think told. Yep.
Redoing that one too.
Well, so
they're redoing part. Well, I guess they're redoing part 1. Unfortunately, I wish it was 2. 2 was definitely better, but
so many great sci-fi video games: Mass Effect, BioShock.
I love Mass Effect.
Dune.
Yeah, Mass Effect was really good. BioShock was good.
All the Dune
Chorus
games
is pretty good. Chorus is pretty good. The Dune games are good. Yeah, Dune was really good. I would have to go with The Last Starfighter.
Ooh,
that was always just like a great. And Flash Gordon, the movie.
Yeah.
That was good. I don't care what anybody say. I want me a rocket cycle.
Hey,
I want me a rocket cycle.
That's right.
With Ming.
Yeah, with
Ming the
Ming
Magnificent.
Yeah. Always wanted a rocket cycle.
Right.
And I always wanted somebody to call me while I was flying. I say, I'm flying blind on a rocket cycle.
And then you wanted that Queen Flash Gordon song playing while you're driving that rocket cycle.
Yes, sir. You got to. You can't. Listen, there's no way you can ride it without having it.
Yeah.
All right,
so the ride is worth this without.
Tim, you've been put on blast, man. What's going on with this film you made?
Okay, so I wrote. The company I work for is Endless Mile Studios. I was going to plug this at the end, but I guess my boss has called this out early. I wrote a film called Rocky's Galaxy for the company last year, and we filmed it at the start of this year, and it's currently in post-production, and hopefully we will be able to sell it, and you will see it somewhere next year. And it is a workplace comedy set in a comic book store. So it's a bit like Clerks, but with people who like to talk about Batman a lot. And there's also some light sci-fi elements in the background.
I'd buy it.
Very cool.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's characters who are so oblivious and wrapped up in their own stuff that they don't realize a giant monster is attacking the city. That kind of a thing.
Okay.
You were talking about drag before. When you said Rocky's Galaxy, I thought I was going to have to go get my fishnet stockings on and my bustier, you know.
You went from Rocky Horror,
yeah. So, do my best Tim Curry.
Right, yes. And yes, Event Horizon does remind me of Dead Space.
Dead Space. It does. That's true.
And Amber, what's good? Amber, shout out to Amber. She said, "What about the new Netflix show Arcane?"
Everyone's told me to watch that, but I haven't watched it.
Arcane is. I've watched it. It's great. Yeah,
okay.
I gotta
watch that.
I've never played League of Legends, and my son got me into that show. I'm hooked. I'm addicted to that show now. So
now, if you want to watch a good fantasy show on Netflix, this is no lie. I got hooked on it the first time I watched it, and somebody recommended it to me, The Dragon Prince. I watched it, and I was like, The Dragon Prince. It blew me away. And if you watch it, you're gonna be blown away too. So I advise you not to start watching it unless you have time and you want to be blown away.
What did anyone watch Castlevania when that was on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I watched.
Started to, yeah.
Castlevania was good. Castlevania was good.
The hell of it.
Very good.
My guilty pleasure is all those Resident Evil movies for some reason.
Yeah, Amber Nicole, Dragon Prince.
Yep.
Those liquors, man.
For sure.
So my brothers were always waiting for the liquor to show up, and his little tongue just come flopping out.
Right. So let's get into
quick question.
Okay, hold on.
Guys.
Go ahead.
Perspectives. It reminds me of the Animatrix. It's a bunch of different stories, written in different, because each writer has a different style, and every writer, no two writer styles are the same. Just like no two artists, art is the same. What made you guys go for that format instead of just collaborating together and writing one story? What made you go for the just different story format?
Well, I guess I could take this one.
Go for it.
Paul had this idea kick around in his head to do something for charity, and then he eventually settled on an anthology. And he knew all these people who are just really talented writers, And this project really came together really fast. So from the time that the call went out for people to send in stories to the time it was finished and published, I think was like 3 or 4 months. If Paul's still listening, he could probably say for sure. I mean, that's incredibly fast for they to come in, get edited, get the book all put together, and get published. And I think it was really cool that way, because then the title of the book came, which is Perspectives, and the only rule was give us a story that is, well, first of all, it was apolitical, so it's like no politics in it, because that's a landmine that you don't want to step on. But it's like, other than that, it's like science fiction, fantasy, or horror, and I want to showcase all of your stuff, and then we're going to help people with it, and that's what the project was really about. And I think 3 months. So so doing that, you really did get all those different voices, those different perspectives,
Yeah. So there's 16 stories, right?
Yeah.
And Caleb, or go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, 60 stories, 16 different authors. And and it runs from, you got vampires, you got high fantasy, you got science fiction, you got horror, you got all sorts of stuff going on in there. So there's something for everybody. And like you said, everybody has a different writing style, a different way to tackle things. And it's just really interesting and cool. And all of these incredible writers are part of this thing we call Any One World, so they have the option to bring their stories to life in that world and get them published as well. So it's just a really cool thing.
Awesome, man. Yeah, Caleb, you've got Right of Devourment. And what is that about?
No. You want to know like the actual true plot of it, or just what inspired it, I guess?
Well, yeah, like what kind of story is it?
Well, it's about
is it what's the genre? Give us a little bit of the plot. Make the viewers want to go read it.
Sell it, work it.
Not particularly good at this, but
you got
it. About a guy trying to take up the reins for his family and try to protect them, and then in doing so, he locks himself in this situation that literally alters his entire being, and then he's left with the outcome of that, and then having to adjust to this new life, and then as well as not trying to make it a negative per se. I know it's a bit more read into it, but that's ultimately like one side of it. The other side would be that it's a different representation of being manipulated and controlled by individuals and being created into something that you never really wanted to be, but then when you find out that that's what you are, you try to make the best of it and try to get out of it.
Wow. That sounds that's deep. That's deep.
Saying that Caleb, when they wrote Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, the author of that story said that it happened in real life, and that he wrote about it because he thought it was an awesome story. Is that the same for you? These things happen to you in real life, and you just said, you know what, I'm going to write about it. I'm going to write about what I lived.
So yeah, I guess you could say that, obviously without the fantasy element, but that's honestly what I was pulling from. It's just being in these relationships that thought I was doing the best I could for those around me, and then realizing that I was just locked in relationships that I wasn't supposed to be in, but I had gone so deep into it, and I've been altered so deeply from it that like I could never really be what I was. But I'm not going to be the monster that they made me. And so I was going to use what I gained from that relationship to try to help others and try to help and just try to find people and going through similar situations, or just trying to find people that need help. And like, I know it doesn't quite seem that way, but like, that's also like the second half of that. Like this is the first half of him realizing that like, hey, I can pull people from something that they're not into and bring them into what I've learned,
right.
You know? And but yeah, my wife got pissed off at me. She's like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, "No, that's actually what it is." It's like, I never alluded to anything because it's super fantasy with it. But yeah, that's ultimately what it came down to. I had two really strong models in my life that manipulated and controlled me and made me feel that I was just ultimately what he felt like in that cave, you know?
Right.
And when I came out of it, I kind of, it's like I'm gonna kill whatever it is that you had going on, and I'm going to make this into something that doesn't destroy my life and doesn't make me into what you were trying to, or what you saw me as, even.
Right. Have you ever read any James Abercrombie?
Oh God, no.
Or no, not James. No Abercrombie.
No, I have I have ADHD, and it's really really difficult for me to read.
No, I get that. I get that too. Like,
I've read like 2 books in my life.
well, you know what I did to help me? Because same thing, is I got audible.com has the audiobooks, like almost any book you can imagine. So I get the audiobook and play it while I'm reading the physical book.
That's the only way. That's the only I did that with what is it, Silver, Long John Silver, the Treasure Island. That's how I had to do that. Yeah, I can't do it any other way. Like, it don't stick.
Yeah, it works though, but because it lets you
It's like
comprehend and get it, like absorb it. Because like I don't know if it's the same thing with you, but I'll go 3 pages and then I'm like, realize I don't have any idea what I just read. I'm reading the words, in my mind, like as I'm going, but it's like I have to read it 3 times sometimes because my mind's doing, like, I'm thinking of 5 other things while I'm reading. The only thing that really cured that was audiobook while you're reading, because one or the other by itself, it leaves too much open information coming in. But if you're visually looking at it while you're listening to it, that's the way to go.
That's predominantly the issue, is because like I'll be reading while thinking about something else and then fixating what I'm thinking about. I'm still reading, but I'm like days worth into something else, and then I look back and I'm like, oh wow, I was reading but I wasn't listening,
Right. 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get towards, is trying to read more. But
yeah, well, try that, man. Go on Audible and find the book you want, and get the audio book and read it, because I got like 100 books on my shelf and I've read and listened to all of them. But
I want to finish Interview with the Vampire. I got about scene where they found that like half zombie, or what would you call that? Like, it didn't quite turn them, and so
look at this.
It had brain damage, I think it was, in that part of the book.
Yeah, that's about as far as I could get. It's just really
one book right here I grabbed. It has Interview, Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the... Yeah, bro, all of them right there.
And the Vampire Lestat's a really good book. You should definitely finish Interview with the Vampire and start that.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Yeah,
you
learn the truth in the Vampire.
I just went through how I have ADHD, and you want to just come in and slap me in the face.
You gotta learn the truth of Louis' lies. But all right, so
I've seen the movie. Does that count?
Right? Yeah, no, it's definitely lose a lot doing that. But audio books away.
Should I watch the movie, listen to the Audible, and read the book at the same time? Like, try to just really get all the information.
Really absorb the whole thing. Right. All right, Nem, you which story is yours? Because I don't see your name. I don't
Work
see
for Hire. My name is Dave Howard. D.W. Howard.
Dave Howard. Okay. Work for Hire. All right, so there you are. Tell us about Work for Hire.
Yeah, sure. Work for Hire is a prequel to a science fiction project I've been working on for a while. It's going to be comic books and a novel in any one world. It's called Blood World. And the whole preface of this story is I wrote this before COVID, by the way. I've been working on this for a while. I'm one of those nerds that writes like the history of the world and everything before I do it. Right. So I've got like 150 pages of just history, and then I've got another 100 pages about the technology and everything that's going in. So this virus takes over the world and starts mutating everything. So plants, animals, people, and it's gone. Eventually, what's going to happen is people go back to being feral unless they live in these certain cities on Earth, and the rich and the connected get off Earth and go out into the solar system. And then there's this whole other thing that goes on in Blood World where there's people where everything is controlled through your DNA. So your bank records are imprinted on your DNA.
Right.
Security is in your DNA. But anyway, this particular story, Work for Hire, there is a gentleman who controls a major multinational corporation in Nigeria, and he knows what's going on. He's lost numerous children to this virus, and he wants to get off the planet, and he's going to be one of the founders of this thing called the Seoul Scientific Symposium on Io, the moon of Io. And he needs to get off the planet, and so he hires this guy. That's why it's called Work for Hire. He hires this guy to get the chemicals and stuff to allow him to leave the planet. And he's an assassin. He's a spy. And it's about the three different times that he hires this gentleman to go out and do these things for him. And it's in flashbacks. And what it is that the whole story is told as flashbacks from the spy's point of view. And at the end, you find out that he has been betrayed by his employer and is going to get killed. So,
I hope you didn't give away too much at the end there.
No. I mean, you figured that out early on. But there's a lot more going on as far as you'll find out why the two of them had a falling out. You'll find out what he did for him. You'll find out a whole bunch of stuff about the characters. But yeah, with all that's going on, it really is kind of like James Bond meets Blade Runner. I mean, that's the best way I could display it. So
nice, dude. That sounds that's right up my alley. That's my kind of thing right there.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun to write, and like I said, it's a prequel story for something that I'm working on, and the story that comes after is like 500 years later after this one. So it's like it's not like you have to read this, but
a little backstory, right? Yeah. No, that's all. I love that. I love expanded mythologies. Like that's always the best part to me when I get to see that kind of stuff, the extra stuff. Like,
I didn't know that we could mention that. So, prequel as well. Like I have this main novel that that character eventually plays into, and then like my whole entire series jumps from like medieval to like Western times and this, that, and the other. And this character in this short story, he plays into all those. So yeah. I'm sorry.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, no,
I was like, you know what? I should have said something too.
It was leading into my next question is about that, but we kind of jumped the gun. But all right, let's do Christian.
Well,
Christian,
no, before we go there, Reno.
No, go ahead.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Normally, when an author writes, a book or a character in their novels, they normally kind of put themselves in there as a character in the book, or an altered version of themselves, or an alter ego. In your story, what is your alter ego in your story?
The one that's perspectives.
Yes.
I definitely see parts of me in the guy who's a spy and assassin, and I say that because I have a military background. I did quite a few things when I was in the military and afterwards. Had a martial arts background back in the day before I got old and out of shape, And so
I do.
Yeah, it's definitely, I bring that to everything I do. I mean, I work in the ASAP main continuity as well, and I'm writing Level 8, which is a government organization that is pretty amoral, and they do some good work, but they do it for all the wrong reasons, if that makes sense, Yeah. So I like to write about that kind of stuff, and it really pulls from my experience being in the military, being around government, working in Washington, D.C. for a number of years, those types of things. So I really borrow from that and either put my experience or myself into a lot of those characters. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah, and like Joshua said, Altered Carbon, man, that was a great trilogy as well. They did a Netflix show, but if you just saw the show, read those books, man. I'm telling you, those are some books that I read with the audible visual technique, but yeah, got through all three of those, man. They're phenomenal. So all right, so yeah, Christian, man, what? Okay, you have wrote the this is a long one. It's the Murmuring John and the Recording of Alexander A. Williams.
Yep, yeah, it's a
With a
mouthful.
title like that, come on, what is this about?
I know it's a mouthful, and a little grandiose. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, you enter the story about this guy making a recording. Alexander is making a recording, and you find out pretty quick that this is humanity sort of in a far future. They're in between what's called jump stations, going to each, right? And a guy's out on a maintenance walk, Alexander, and he becomes untethered from his ship while they're going maintenance speeds, so many tens of thousands of miles, per hour and kilometers per hour, or whatever I wrote. I wrote kilometers. But so he becomes untethered from his ship, and he starts having these parallel experience to this other guy, Murmuring John, or John Cal Dowdy, who was also untethered from his ship. And they start having these crazy, weird, surreal experiences. And you start to wonder, and it's sort of like, you get inside this guy's brain and what he's thinking. He gives a little bit about his past and why he may not be seeing the things that he is seeing versus, all these weird accounts that happen to this other guy in the same situation. So what you have is this guy telling his story, his life story, as he is, falling into the same situation that, John did as well. And it sort of starts flirting with the whole idea of, the unexplained and and is somebody really losing their mind, or is they really seeing what they're seeing out there? And I like to throw space in there because space is horrifying to me. It's as much as I love it, and I love it, but
inhospitable.
Exactly. And it's just a great setting for that. So you have these, you have this story where it's kind of this guy talking about is he going mad or not, essentially, without giving too much away. There's a lot of other things in there that I don't want to say too much, for people who want to go read it. But the way I look at it is it's a standalone, short story, and but I want to do these standalones in this, build a bigger universe, sort of in like, the Lovecraftian weird horror vein, right? Where people kind of question what's comprehensible and, what, the human mind can take before it breaks, sort of horror, right? I like to call it the slow burn horror. I've said that a few times to people, but where, you just kind of slowly inch away at people's perception of things until they go, wow, that's kind of really weird. And then it can, but kind of build a whole universe on that, so
man, guys, this book so far, this is only 3 so far of the 16 stories here, people, so you're definitely gonna want to go get this book. I mean, this sounds amazing so far. Like,
Chris,
so Tim, go ahead. Sorry, man.
Chris, Dr. Emmett Brown hits his head on a cabinet or the edge of the toilet, whatever he did, and that gave him the inspiration for the flux capacitor. What gave you the inspiration for your story?
I didn't hit my head. I didn't slip and fall. I don't think I may have actually,
But every good author has every good author has inspiration. They all do. Homer had inspiration for the Odyssey. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had inspiration for Sherlock Holmes. What was your inspiration for your story?
I love horror in all forms. I like horror and I like sci-fi a lot. And the inspiration here was, okay, as a fan of this stuff, what would scare me? Sort of thing. That's kind of how I approached it, right? Because like I said, I like this stuff, and I'm not trying to say like I'm a huge, badass or things don't scare me. I enjoy horror, I like to take it in and I like to be scared. So then I set out to write my inspiration. This was, what can I write that would scare me? How can I get into a universe that would really make me go, yeah, this would be an absolute nightmare. And that's kind of the way I kind of guide those. While I think the biggest thing for me too is bringing the real human experience to it, right? You have these completely unexplainable situations, and then you have to describe how a human or how you or anybody would react to that. And if you keep it very simple like that, you can make these giant, grandiose, weird, creepy stories, but keep it very simple with the human experience. And that's kind of been the inspiration. How can I tell that story? Scare the crap out of me while making it and keeping it very human, very lived experience, I guess. So
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I would say when I read Christian's story, it reminded me a lot of alternate realities or theoretical physics. Even it was pretty trippy. You start going down that, and your brain starts getting cramped. You got to get a little liquid courage to keep reading it, but it's fun stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you said Interstellar, and it's kind of giving me sort of those vibes of deep
Yeah,
space,
absolutely. Yeah,
solitude, right?
And then the whole idea of, like, Nim was saying, these factors and these environmental and situational factors that just aren't quite explainable, and how we react in those situations, sort of thing. So
right.
I love it.
Very cool. All right, Tim. Last but definitely not least, surprises never end. No, that's the name of the story. The surprises never end. Tell us about it.
So it's funny. The most accurate, like, kind of blurb to give you like a quick and dirty feel for what the story is like is my oldest brother read it, and his review was, it was like The Giver but on meth. And I've always been weirdly proud that that's how he felt about it. I don't know. It's sort of it takes place in a dystopian future, and it has kind of like a YA feel for it, where it's a future where we're not as technologically advanced anymore, and society has become more rural and kind of run down. And it's got a bit
Book
of
of Eli or Hunger Games.
A little bit, a little Hunger Games, little Book of Eli, but like kind of like a Western feel to it, where it's like these small like farming communities have just popped up, and they're trying to just make the most of it. And there are certain people in this future who have memories of the future, of events that happen later in their lives that haven't happened yet. And the main character in the story is such a boy who has memories of events that are going to happen to him that have not happened yet. He doesn't remember his entire life, but he remembers things down the line. And it's largely about how he deals with that and about how it alienates him from other people. And it takes place on the eve of him about to do a trial of manhood to prove that he's an adult. And he doesn't know how the trial goes. So he's going into it knowing that he comes out through it, but not knowing how he comes out of it.
Right. Wow. Very cool. Stu, you got something for Tim?
Of course.
I know. All right.
Tim, a lot of times when we, hear stories of an apocalyptic nature, a lot of authors normally, when they write about such things, they normally are people who have such visions of such things. If you were to take today's society in your mind, could you seriously see society being the way that you wrote it to be? And is there aspects of today's society that inspired you to write such a utopian future? A bleak future for society?
I guess yes would be the answer. And not to get political, but I do worry about the sort of environmental crises that we're facing and all that stuff. And I'm hoping that, it doesn't turn as bleak as this, but it's possible. And yeah, and I don't know, it's also, maybe it's optimistic to think that we'll still be around for this stuff, but I feel like the odds are in our favor at the end of the day. The world might be very different, but
are the odds ever in our favor?
I mean, we got through the 80s and the Cold War, and that was like assured destruction. So I don't know.
Well, I would have to say after those last 3 Star Wars movies, yeah, we're not looking real good.
Actually, when I read Tim's book, we were talking about video games before. I definitely thought that your story could take place in like Wasteland or Fallout, the Fallout, something like that. It really had that kind of feel to it, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite subgenre, hands down. Is post-apocalyptic dystopian futures. I don't know why, something about it just resonates with me. I just really, I don't know. I could almost see myself in that time, and it's just definitely always grabs my attention. So that's again 4 stories, guys. So if this is the table of contents, I'm going to read you every story. We got The Haunted by Mitch Larkins. We've got Right of Devourment by Caleb. We've got Anna's Choice by Martin
Anna's Choice was
Fresnell.
good. I read that. That was good.
You read that one?
Really
Okay, cool. What was that
yeah, I
about?
read that. That was really good.
What was that one about?
It's kind of confusing. It's a girl, and she's taking orders from an older woman. The older woman is kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi trying to train Luke Skywalker, or Yoda trying to train Luke. There was just problems because the younger girl had a certain view and aspect of the way things were. She was already a certain way, but then taking orders from somebody that's older and wiser than you is always difficult when you already got a little bit of you got a little bit of Jedi in you, but they're trying to show you how to be a Jedi, but you think you already right. You got right. So that it was sort of like that's the best way I can explain without spoiling it for you or putting it out. But it was good. It was really good.
That's dope, man. And number 4 is another long title. I don't know if it might beat Christians. Unorthodox Methods to Successfully Cow an Apothecary by R.E. Misery. And we've got The Feedings by man, my screen shrunk. Is that
Bracy.
Okay. It's kind of jumbling up on my screen. All right, and then we got Grandmother's Door by Michael D. Nadeau. And then we got Just a Second by L.A. Cunningham. Hear No Evil by Fraser Armitage. And then You Look Familiar by Paul D. Nolan. Forsakeable Heroes by C. Van Dyke. And then Work for Hire by D.W. Howard. Sorry. The Surprises Never End by Tim Davis. Blood and Ashes by Steve Sellers. Transitioning of Power by Louise M. Cruz. And Apex Predator by Micah Richards. And then last but not least, Murmuring John and the Recording of Alexander A. Williams by Christian. Man. So phenomenal book, man, and well, of course the charity that it is helping out. So there's lots of incentive, guys, to get this book. Not only is it a great read, but it's a great cause behind it as well.
Oh yes, 100%.
I just want to point out that people need to focus on what Louis Cruz did, just because like that dude, I don't think he can move his hands and like all this. He wrote it with his mouth, like everything he's doing. Yeah, and it's insane, like what he's fought through to be able to do what he's doing, and it's just just the fact that he even put together something like this is amazing, and it's great. I think he really needs a lot of attention.
Absolutely,
yeah.
He's
100%. Fighting through 100%. Yeah.
He's an artist as well, and he has several novels that he has written and published.
Crazy.
So
wow.
Yeah.
So this kind of brings my next question. Have any of you ever written, or do you plan to write a full-length novel? Caleb, go.
Yeah, I've already finished the first part of the trilogy I was doing for the medieval age of my universe, but then I got sidetracked with the Western that I've been doing now. So now I'm writing that one. But I got that novel done. I got about 80,000 done for the Western, and I have like 10-ish short stories done that ties all of the knots of the loose ends in between the two. And now, honestly, I think I'm just gonna, instead of doing a trilogy for the medieval, just kind of do the medieval one first, and then the Western, and then let you kind of be like, what the hell happened in that time, that that passage of time, and then go back and do a
couple of fill-ins, right?
Yeah,
that's
but
cool.
the extent of my intention is I had like basically a trilogy in each time period. So like a trilogy in medieval trilogy in a Western time period, colonial-esque thing, and then like 1920s, 30s mobster-esque trilogy in that time period within my universe as well. Yeah, and then just a whole bunch of short stories that fill in the gaps.
Cool.
So how many other short stories have you done?
Say what?
How many other short stories have you done besides this one?
Around about 10 to 15. Most of them I just ended up blending into the novels and just trying to make them work. I was being really lazy, and I was like, "Hey, this guy's going to tell a story now," and But just about 10 or 15. Anytime I got to a point in a novel that like, hey, there's backstory to this, I can't put this in there. It's unnecessary. And so like I wrote it and then just shoved it off to the side. But no, you know what? I have 2 short stories that have nothing to do with my actual universe. It's a horror pirate story, then a story about a zombie that gets cured and he's trying to reassimilate in life and figuring out that, like, you know, becoming a zombie in the 60s and coming back to life in the 2020s is not really. It's called like Mystic Goat. They're left undead, and it basically ultimately comes to the point where he realizes, like, oh, I was better a zombie than alive because I don't know what the hell is going on now. He ends up meeting the demon, and then, like, you know, all that. It's this whole thing. But those are the only ones. Yeah, those are the only ones that don't have that tie into my actual universe. I couldn't make it work. A goat bites him and turns him human. And that's why it's called Mystic Goat.
Okay.
It was a Mystic Goat.
That makes sense. Tim, mix it up a little bit. Tim, have you ever written a full-length novel, or do you plan to? If you do, what would it be about?
So not really. I mostly write screenplays and stuff like that. And honestly, like, I'm really daunted by the prospect of writing a novel just because it's hard enough getting someone to read like a 90 to 100 page screenplay and giving you feedback and working out what's working and not working and fixing it up. And like, I just don't know if I have friends who are that patient who would do it.
No, I feel you. I wrote a novel myself, or at least part of one. And getting people to read it, it's a lot because they've got to, you know, they got to commit to a lot of time, you know, and then maybe taking notes, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big process, but you can pay people to do it for like $5 a page, which gets expensive.
Wow,
wow,
that's
it gets up there.
I'm speechless on that one.
If I did write a novel, I don't know, I really like the characters in the world I did for the anthology, The Surprises Never End. So I feel like if I ever wrote like a novel or a series of novel, it would be just an expansion of that in that universe. And I do, at the very least, I think I have other short stories I want to tell with those characters in that world down the line. So that's probably the big thing I'd want to write in just traditional prose that's not meant for the screen. Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Christian.
Yeah. So I've written a novel that I've been trying to get published through agents for a while. It's a sci-fi fantasy space opera sort of universe that I took from Mass Effect. Was one of my favorite games and series of all time. But I am of the crew that really didn't enjoy the ending, and then I grew up on I grew up on the prequels with Star Wars, which were, you know, at the time also a disappointment, which had somehow made their way back into everybody loving them at the moment. Right. So I kind of have this like appreciation for these universes, but that I also set out to go, well, if I don't like these, and I may as well just make my own. If I can't keep complaining about these things, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Live your life and make your own universe. And so I did. And so I have this like Mass Effect sort of Star Wars Dune amalgamation. That's a novel that I'm trying to get published right now too. And then I write other stuff like I have a few novels in the works, and then But my main focus is actually from perspectives. So the little story I wrote turned into a couple more short stories that I wrote. And then kind of in the same universe, I'm trying to build this universe through these short stories. And then, I have Paul from ASAP reached out and he goes, "Hey, what do you got going on? Let's do something." I was like, "All right." And I think I can do this. So, if anybody liked that and if anybody reads that in the future and likes that, my plan is to make my own short story horror collection and put it out through ASAP. So that's kind of what I'm working on now, but it's probably going to be about novel length. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. So it's trying to get about 10 or a dozen stories, all kind of like the one that I wrote, same feel, same vein, and build this little horror universe. So I got a few projects, probably too many. I probably should really cut it off at some point.
Yeah, I feel you though, but yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to read all you guys' stuff, man.
Same here.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
awesome. Real quick, ASAP, Luis is a legendary dude. Shout out to Jess, the editor, and Kelsey, the graphic designer, too.
Yep.
And
sorry, I just want to say that they also did their work for free too. Everybody involved worked for free. So big shout out because this cover. Look at this. This cover is freaking sweet. By the way,
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Free. Everybody worked hard to do that stuff for free, and it's once again great cause. Sorry, I just had to.
I was gonna say, and for someone who needs an editor and hates editing, man, Jess edited all these stories got it turned around, and it's just legendary.
And she was really pleasant when she did it. She's like, "I know you love this sentence. I know you do. I really gotta get rid of it. we got a length we gotta keep." But I like it.
Versus, well, I'm blessed that the person who's editing some of the stuff I work on right now is also part of ASAP, Sarah, and she just cracks me up because the other day she's like, editors have to be dicks by nature. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a job.
But Sarah's sweet. She's sweet about tearing my stuff apart. So that's
important.
It's a really difficult thing to do as well because you have so many things you got to balance, and so you're like, what can I remove while maintaining what he's trying to say or she? You got so many things you got to juggle, and takes a lot of thought. You got to have a lot of faith in your ability because you could put out something that you're like, "Oh man, I should have kept that."
And you get attached to your certain storylines or sentences or turn of phrase or whatever. You got to cut it, and it's like, man, I feel you.
Yeah.
All right, so Nim, did you write it? Sorry, say that again.
That's where a lot of my short stories came from.
Right.
Can't make this.
All right, Nim. Nim, what's your? Did you write a novel?
Yes. I have one right now. I finished it a while ago. It was supposed to be out earlier, but we're doing some finishing touches on it. So it was supposed to come out at the end of this year. It's probably gonna be coming out. I don't know. I can't put a time on it. I'm going to say either January or February. It'll be out when it's done. So when it's ready, it'll be out. That one's called The Long Game. It's a mystery thriller set in New York City, but it's got horror elements to it, demonic possession and that kind of thing. And the whole premise of that, the opening scene is a detective set that's called to a double homicide in front of an abortion clinic after a riot. And the premise behind the book is I came up with the idea for this book like 20 years ago where I was sitting, I was going, I was watching a bunch of people arguing about something. It was over politics. I said, if I was the devil, how would I turn people against each other and make them destroy themselves? And that's what this book is about, and it's called The Long Game. So that's out. And then I've got another book that is finished and being edited right now for ASAP Comics called Level 8. It's a collection of short stories. There's going to be a Level 8-1 and a Level 8-2. Level 8-1 focuses on the backgrounds for a number of characters within this evil organization and how they were either recruited or abducted and brought in to this organization and how that happened. So, and it's not quite novel length. I would say it's, I don't know, maybe 75% the length of a novel, so like 250 pages, something like that. Right. So we're editing that, and then I got the Blood World book that I'm working on that is, I don't know, about half finished, and then I got plans for more books within the Michael Domenicali series, which is that series with the long game and stuff like that. So, and then we also have comic books that I'm working on as well. So we're gonna have, I got 4 comic books coming out through ASAP Comics next year. So we've already finished the first couple scripts, and we got an artist working on them. So yeah, look for those as well. It's going to be OPSEC. So think X-Files meets Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense from Hellboy, and that's OPSEC. Right. So
okay. That sounds and why awesome. Is Level 8 called Level 8?
Level 8 is called Level 8 because there are 8 different organizations that are part of this this one giant government group, and each of those organizations has their own motives. They have their own way of doing things. So, for instance, OPSEC, the comic book I'm writing, is one which stands for Operations and Security.
Right.
By their name, you understand what they do. So they're the ones that go out and investigate stuff. They're the ones that, if something needs to be put down hard, they've got like military teams that come in and put down stuff. And they are probably the least corrupted group in Level 8. But there are other groups in Level 8 that do experiments and all sorts of stuff that's just nasty. And you'll find that out through all of our comics. So like Paul has Messiah, which came out last year for ASAP. That ties into Level 8. We got Sister Graham, who eventually, that Lori Cunningham is writing. That ties into Level 8. So every Level 8 is in the middle of all this stuff. And little by little, you'll get exposed to what's going on in the ASAP main continuity and what's behind that, and you can see some of that even on our YouTube channel now. We sorry to diverge a little bit, but Paul had this cool idea where we have this thing called the Conjector, who is an actual live character who's part of our comics universe. And this guy's a conspiracy theorist, but he knows a lot about what's really going on. So you're listening to this lunatic rave about stuff, but he may not be a lunatic. He might actually be telling you a little bit about what's going on in the comic universe. And he's a live character putting live videos up on our YouTube channel. So
okay, that sounds cool. Okay. That's a really cool promotion.
Yeah. I always thought the Conjector had kind of like a V from V for Vendetta vibe to him, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
And I will say that dude, as the guy who writes the bad guys in the universe, I mean, I write the bad guys so that the heroes can take them down. But I will say, as the guy who writes the bad guys, and so they're part of my heart, that dude better be careful about what he says, or else my bad guys are going to come find him.
Right. Do you think that you could tell, or are novels better than comics at telling stories? Could you tell an equally good story through comics as you can novels? I mean, because we're about comic books here.
I think it depends on what you want to do. If I want to build this whole world and give you all like for instance, Blood World, I'm doing comics and novels for that. Why am I doing that? Well, the comic stories I want to tell are one-shot stories that lend themselves to visuals, Right. But in the books, you're getting so much more detail about like the technical manuals, and you're getting details about the technology and stuff like that. If I tried to put that in a graphic novel, you just skip over it because it would just be pages of
Jonathan Hickman stuff.
Yeah. So I think it really depends on what you want to do, the kind of stories you want to tell, and what lends itself. It's like Dune. Dune is hard, I think, to bring to graphic novel format if you really want to capture all of what Dune is, because Dune has so much, granularity there that you're going to miss a lot of it versus, I don't know, maybe like Blade Runner. Blade Runner would be cool as a comic book, So
yeah, well, they've done a few Blade Runner comics, a lot of they did, actual adaptations of the movie. They've done, spin-offs. They've done different eras. So
there's an anime series coming out. Yeah, there's an anime series coming out soon too.
Dune has a comic, but it's called Dune House Atreides.
Yeah, and I like that, but I think that I would say that comic books is very much aimed at people who have already read the other stuff, so you know enough to be dangerous when you're going in there. But I don't think one is better than the other. I mean, I'm doing right for both. I think either one, can scratch your itch. Whatever you need, you can find it in either one of those formats. So
right.
Absolutely.
Stu, you got anything?
You
wanted to ask them?
I'm proud of what you guys are doing. I like it. I think it's dope.
Thanks.
Like I said, mainly, like Reno keeps saying, mainly we're hip hop and comics. We are, but that doesn't mean that we can branch out a little bit and dive into some other things that are truly worth reading and taking a look at. Because there's a lot of stuff that isn't, but the stuff you guys are doing is it's good. I got a chance to skim through perspectives before the show, and the stuff I read was really good. The stuff that you guys wrote was really, really good. And it's not because you're on the show, but it really was. Very, very inspirational, very good, and the cause that it's going for is also noble as well.
Yeah, just to toot anyone's world's horn a little bit more. I mean, I think the coolest part about this, and I remember when Paul came up with this idea, is the fact that this is like an open call to everybody that's on the internet. So pretty much the whole world. Bring us your stories, and we'll get your stories to the world. And among the other things I do besides writing, I help people develop comics in the Anyone world. And I've been blessed. I mean, right now I'm working with a kid from Abu Dhabi and another kid from Nigeria who are writing comics, and I'm helping them live their dream, So it's just a really cool thing. It's a cool feeling. It's something that couldn't have happened 30 years ago because we didn't have the internet like this.
Right.
And that's the Anyone world. And these gentlemen here are part of it as well. I mean, this is Christian, I'm sure, could testify this. It's hard to break through the wall in comics or prose and get an agent to take your project or get a publisher to take your project. And you may have the best book in the world, and for whatever reason, you just keep getting rejection notice after rejection notice. And nobody even reads your stuff. They just throw it in the can.
Right.
So
because it's got to be recommended by someone. Like it's like they say, it's not about it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
If
so
you know
this
that
is
right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say this. So this is what Anyone world is doing. I mean, it's breaking down those walls, and it's already happening. You look at like Lance Lucero, who brought Bob Paranormal, Paranormal,
non-union psychic, right?
Yeah, non-union psychic, and that's an incredible comic book. And Lance did a lot of great stuff doing it on his own, but he wanted to do a big book of Bob. He wanted to do a trade, and he couldn't get someone to help him with that, and he brought it to Anyone world, and it's out, and it is just a beautiful book. You could, if that book was in any comic book store or whatever, it looks just as good as anything you'd see from the big two. So,
right, absolutely, man. And so all right, so this is the part in our show where we do rapid fire with Cooks 24 Hot.
Oh yeah.
Yo.
Brother.
Cooks.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Cooks?
My first time meeting Mr. Caleb, man. How you doing, man?
What's up, Mr. Cooks?
Doing all right. What's going on, Mr. Neil, Christian, Tim, Stu Dog? You know what I mean?
Great to see you again.
Hey, man, great to see y'all always, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole community. Shout out to Hip Hop and Comics, the show. Shout out to the host. Shout out to ASAP Comics and everybody. Shout out to the whole team. You know what I'm saying? So, we got a bonus round for y'all. You know what I mean? Cooks 24, check 1, 2. So, you know what I mean? First round, y'all already know. I say 2 things, and y'all pick which one y'all like the best. Second round, I say 1 thing. The second round gonna be just for y'all, for the ASAP squad. I'm gonna say 1 word for y'all, and y'all tell me what it means to you. You know what I'm saying? So what we'll do is we'll start with Tim, then we'll go to Christian, then we'll go to Neil, then we'll go to Caleb, then we'll go to the host for the first round. So y'all ready?
I'm ready.
All right,
let's do it.
Here we go. All right. Round 1, Cooks 24. Here we go. Radio or podcast?
Podcast.
Okay. Caleb? I wasn't supposed to be next.
Wasn't it? It was okay. I'm sorry. It's Kristen then, right? My bad.
Yeah, Christian.
Hey,
Radio podcast.
podcast for sure.
Okay.
Right. Now is it them?
Yeah. Whoever. Matter of fact, whoever you pop up there, put it like that.
There we go. All right.
Make it easy.
You hit me with this one the other day. Radio. I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm seasoned.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Seasoned. Right.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Okay.
All right.
Independent or major?
Independent.
Independent, yeah.
Okay.
Indies all the way.
I like freedom. Independent.
Okay. Okay, here go a cool one. The 80s or the 90s?
Wow.
Ooh,
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. That's tough. That's tough.
I'll go with the 80s.
Okay.
I gotta say 90s. That was the majority of my childhood, even though I was born in the 80s.
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 Definitely the seasoned.
80s? Okay.
No question. My wife still
Okay.
complains how much I complain about the 90s. So
I can understand that. I can understand that. All right.
I agree with you with the 80s. 80s all the way.
the
Okay.
hairstyles alone, garbage.
Comic cons or comic shops?
Ooh.
Comic shops, because there are actual comics there.
Right. All right. There you go.
Ooh, that's tough. I had a lot of fun at Comic Cons, so I think I got to say Comic Cons because there's comics there too. I mean, you can find people and you get to meet
There's a
the
couple.
people.
There's a
Yeah,
couple.
and you get to see all the cartoon or the old people costumes.
Dang,
Right.
that's
You
hard.
right.
They're two different experiences. I guess I
Yeah.
got to go with shops, but yeah,
Yeah.
I like them both. So shop, but I'll say shops.
Shops.
Okay.
I get overwhelmed. So shop.
Shop. I feel you on that. But you, Stu?
Comic shops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I gotta go shops. I gotta
You gotta
go
go shop. Yeah, looking at that back room, I know you're gonna go shop.
And because of coronavirus, I definitely gotta go shops.
Gotta go shop. Okay. True. Okay.
True.
Here goes.
True.
This is a fun one. This is a fun one right here. Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris?
Oh yeah. Wait, this thing is okay. There we go.
Bruce, come on.
Thank you.
I guess I don't know them either that well, to be honest.
Really?
If there was like a Brandon Lee option, I'd go Brandon Lee, but I'll go Bruce Lee.
Well, if you go Brandon Lee, you gotta go Bruce. That's
You
just
gotta go Bruce.
I gotta say Bruce Lee. I got a blanket back here behind me. It's like 10 foot, just giant Bruce Lee going. Whoa! You know, it's definitely
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm from Texas, so you know I'm going Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee Walker Ranger, man.
I play a lot of Mortal Kombat, so you know I gotta go with Bruce Lee.
Go with Bruce.
It's Bruce all day, baby.
I thought you were gonna say Chuck, Reno. My bad. Okay. Let me hit y'all in the heart. Comics or novels?
Ooh, I had to go first on this, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Comics, because I haven't read a lot of comics lately, and I need them in my life again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hit me with this one another day. It's novels. Sorry, I love novels.
We
I
love
love comics too.
That's
but
valid.
Yeah, this one's tough, but novels for me too. For
novels
sure.
for you too? Okay.
Yeah.
Incredibly simple for me. I need visuals. So comics.
Comics. Okay.
I'm not special or anything. It's just
Comics.
Comics, right?
Okay.
Comics, straight comic books.
Yeah.
Really? I know he's like, really? He really gonna ask me that question.
Okay. All right. Energy drinks or coffee?
Ooh.
You ready, Caleb?
Oh god.
Yep.
I was keeping thought. Both. I do both.
You
I don't
both?
I can't choose. Look at yeah, both.
Bro, okay.
Have you guys seen me with this
Yeah.
whole podcast? It's obviously coffee.
He love coffee.
Coffee right now. I'll switch again. Coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, I drained this coffee cup before we even started, so coffee.
Water. Straight
Water.
plain water.
Yeah, can't hate on that. Can't hate on that.
Yeah, I'm with Stu. I don't like either. Can't stand caffeine. Yeah, definitely not.
Okay. All right. All right. Two more in this round. Magical fantasy or sci-fi thriller?
Oh, Caleb.
Why me?
You're the fantasy guy.
Oh, good question. Magical fantasy, I guess. Yeah. Gotta go that way.
My bad, y'all.
For this week, I'm gonna go with sci-fi thriller over magical fantasy.
Okay.
You know I'm saying sci-fi thriller, but I love fantasy. But I'm going sci-fi thriller for sure.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I gotta go sci-fi thriller, but man, it depends on what side of the bed I got up on. So
Yeah, this one's super tough for me. Super tough because I like them both like equally. Man, but see, if I go Star Wars, is that sci-fi or is that fantasy? Man.
It's a fantasy.
I like them both. I like them
Yeah.
both, but
Yeah.
sci-fi. Sci-fi is my go-to, but I like them both. I love them both
Okay.
equally.
Okay.
Sci-fi is my
Cool.
go-to.
Okay. All right. And well, I thought two more because this one I gotta ask y'all. First, writing or reading?
reading.
Okay.
I want to say first one then the other, but I guess I'll go with reading as well.
Okay.
I don't read so well. Writing.
Writing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say writing too.
Writing too? Okay. All right.
Yeah, writing is definitely more fun, but I've done a lot more reading than writing, so I guess reading.
Okay.
Reading.
All right. Okay. And the last one for this round, respect or loyalty?
Respect.
Yeah, respect.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry about that.
What was the question?
Respect or loyalty?
Oh shit! Yeah. No. Yeah. Respect, man.
Okay.
I want to be the odd one out. Loyalty.
Okay. All right. Stu?
Loyalty.
Okay.
Respect all day.
Okay.
Respect.
And the reason why, I was just gonna say the reason I was want to ask y'all. I was want to ask everybody. Do you feel like that's kind of a trick question because it's like you gotta have one to get the other one, even though you know what I mean. So how y'all feel?
I feel like with loyalty though, it gets to the point to where you're just saying yes to say yes because of loyalty, whereas respect, you want them to be better. So if you truly felt no, you would say no out of respect because you don't want to just, kiss their behind. You want them to be better. That's how I feel with respect. Loyalty, I feel like you can get that for most people just out of fear. Whereas respect, you earn that out of love and typically something that proves to the person that like, hey, we should follow this dude. He has our best intentions. Whereas, hey, let's follow this guy or he'll kill us.
Yeah, because you can have loyalty without a whole lot of respect.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you can also respect somebody that you're not loyal to. You can respect an enemy. You can respect a villain. You can respect anybody. So you could definitely have one without the other, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I think with a wise man once said, with respect comes great loyalty.
I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a true saying. Yeah, that's a true saying. By Bruce Lee.
Was it Bruce Lee?
Yeah. Yep.
With great power, with great power comes responsibility.
Wasn't that Uncle Ben? You liar.
Oh, see. Okay.
Uncle Bruce Norris.
Anybody else want to touch on it?
One of my favorite quotes is, "A true friend stabs you in the front."
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that.
There you go.
I love it, man. My back can't take much more.
I like that. I like that.
Well,
I like that.
I guess I come from it. I come at it from
a.
I was gonna say I come at it from a military perspective, and I didn't want people to hate me, but it's like if I'm your platoon leader, you can hate me all you want, but I demand
you will respect me.
Yeah, but I demand your loyalty, So it's like,
you will be yeah, that's true.
Your loyalty to the unit to be,
It's like so I come from like a mafia sort of perspective with it. It's like Tony Soprano told Christopher. He said, "You don't have to love me, but you will respect me."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You don't have to, and respect is very big in our family. Like just families in general, but I think Italian families, respect is everything. Like I teach my son, like it's all about respect.
I think
what hurts the concern for me with loyalty is like you'll just have to accept the negatives, and you have to accept that like they're going down a dark path. Whereas respect, you have the ability to be like, dude, like I'm only telling you this because I want you to understand that you may not be able to see the path you're going down, but this isn't good.
Yeah, I think they're two sides of the same coin. It's like if you're disloyal to me, you're disrespecting me, and vice versa. If you're disrespecting me, you're not being real loyal, And it's like I would say if someone is not being straight up with me and telling me the truth, they're not being loyal to me because they're doing me wrong. It's like a friend who's loyal to me, a person who's loyal to me is going to let me know when I'm being a dick. So
I guess that'd be the individual's perception of loyalty.
Yeah,
that's people that like you're supposed to be loyal to me, then you need to shut up and just follow.
Yeah. Well,
but you can't have loyalty without respect. I mean, let's be realistic. You can't be loyal to something you don't respect at all.
Yeah,
that's just how
you can
it is,
respect
man.
something you're not loyal to, though.
Yeah,
you can respect something you're not loyal to. You're really not going to be loyal. Yeah, you could. It is true. You can respect something you're not loyal to.
Yeah, as Big Kenobi said.
Name one thing. Hold on, name one thing.
I respect, Darth Vader. He's a bad guy. I respect the Emperor. I respect anybody that has done what they got a power position, whatever. I can respect Bill Gates. I might not like him, or I can respect Elon Musk for what they do. I can respect Jay-Z. Might not like him as a person, or not, him particularly. But you see what I'm saying? That's kind of what I mean by example. I'm not loyal to somebody just because I respect them.
Well, because loyalty is like great devotion. So like to be loyal to something,
I don't have to really be devoted. But
being loyal to something is being different than respecting. Like I respect the fact that fire will burn me if I touch it, so I don't touch it. You know what I mean? So I respect what it represents. You know what I mean? I respect the fact that if I look at the sun too long, it'll blind me, so I don't do it. I mean, I respect the fact that a shark has a greater advantage than me in the water, so I don't go in the water without a spear gun.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You're not loyal to staring at the sun, but you respect it.
Yeah, but loyalty means because like loyalty is like you follow something with great devotion, without intent or any meaning of deviating from what it means.
Yeah, you would never betray.
So you might know, like you could be a bad guy. You could know that. All right, like take Nazi Germany, for instance. A lot of the Nazi soldiers knew what they were doing was wrong, but they did it out of loyalty. They didn't do it out of respect. They did it out of loyalty for their country and for what they thought that it represented that they were doing. Now, a lot of them might not. If you was to talk to a lot of them one-on-one, they'd be like, "Look, what we doing is wrong, but we're loyal to the country."
Right, but then you have a lot, like you might have soldiers that respected a Nazi general or something like that, or you might have an American that respects Hitler, even though it's like the worst dude on earth. They can have a respect for anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure
That's true. No, you can respect anything, but loyalty.
You can respect something that you don't like. You can respect something that you hate.
Right. We don't like to get burned, but we respect fire.
Right.
We respect the fact that if we touch it, we gonna get burned.
Okay. That was a good. That was a good breakdown. All right. Okay.
And shout out
did-
to OG Lee. He said, if
I
I'm
did-
loyal to Reno and he asks me to protect someone I don't like, but he does, then my loyalty to Reno would have me protect that person.
Which goes back to what I said. Loyalty is that's a deep commitment. Respect isn't.
I didn't drink enough for all these deep thoughts.
Respect's not a deep. We get deep.
That's true.
We get deep sometimes.
That's true. We get deep here sometimes. You gotta come on Mondays. That's how we get deep. We get deep.
We're gonna get it. So it doesn't require much to like do it. That's the problem for me that I find behind it. Like respect, there's a lot of thought. There's a lot of things implemented behind your decisions, whereas loyalty, you could have just been indoctrinated from the get-go and never really knew the pitfalls that are coming before you. Whereas I feel like with respect, you've sat back and understood the actions of these people and their intent and the drive. Whereas like with loyalty, I feel like you're just kind of I've seen a lot of loyalty go down a really dark path, whereas respect typically is like, dude, I get what you're doing, but fuck off. You know?
I would say that I guess the last thing I'd say is that conditioning, like that isn't real loyalty. That is brainwashing, I'll bring up a quote that I remember, when you go to West Point, they make you memorize this whole book of different quotes and stuff. And one of them was, the discipline which makes a soldier a free country reliable in battle is not to be gained by harsh or tyrannical treatment. And then there's a lot more that goes on after that. And that's all about getting the loyalty of your soldiers. And when you're indoctrinating someone, you do that harsh or tyrannical treatment, you don't really have the loyalty and love of your soldiers. And that's what that's all about. So I think that's the difference between, you may get respect through that, but not loyalty. That's the way I see it anyway. So.
Because it's just two different things. It's just two different things. Like I'm a Star Trek fan, right? You got the Dominion. That's a perfect example. You got the Jem'Hadar, and then you got the Founders, and then you have the what do they call it? The ones that take command of the Jem'Hadar.
I would love to help you, but I don't know none of it.
It'll come to me. Well, the Jem'Hadar, everybody respects the Founders. The Founders are what everybody's loyal to. Everybody's loyal to the Founders, no matter what they are. But the Jem'Hadar will not only kill, but also take out their respective leader, who is that? Like, because there's only one thing standing between a god and his soldiers, because the Jem'Hadar, they all look at the Dominion or the changes. They all look at the changes as being. They all look at them as being gods. That's how they all look at them. So they all respect them, no matter what, and no matter what the Founders do, they follow with blind loyalty. They don't care what they do or what they don't even question it, and they respect them on top of that. So they could do the worst thing in the world. They could kill a whole planet full of people, but the Jem'Hadar still respect it because of the simple fact that they're loyal to it.
That's my concern with loyalty. Like, can you say no? And it's really hard to first off, it's hard to determine whether or not you're indoctrinated or loyal. And then from that, like it's a really hard thing to determine whether or not you were capable of saying no. Like, or are you being unloyal at that point or not? Whereas, like, I feel like we're being respected. Like, you're allowed to move around, but there is limitations. Whereas with loyalty, especially, there's your understanding of loyalty, and then the person you're loyal to, their understanding of loyalty. So even if you could say no, they could determine it as like, well, you're not loyal. Like if you're loyal, you would just go with it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's my issue with that.
It's the Vorder. That's what it is. The Vorder commanded Jem'Hadar, and they all answer to the Founders. The Founders are the leaders. They do whatever they want without question. But the Jem'Hadar but they both compete for the respect of the Founders. So the Vorder and the Jem'Hadar both compete for their respect. And there was an episode, if you watch it, it was on Deep Space Nine, where they were talking to Captain Benjamin Sisko, and they had an argument right there in front of them. whereas the Vorder was keeping vital information from his troops. And Cisco kind of stepped back and was like, "Well, look like you let the cat out the bag." When the Jem'Hadar soldier was like, "Look, we know what's going on, and we know about it." And they were saying that, and there was an initial rebellion of Jem'Hadar, and he said, "Look, we killed 52 of them out of 100 or something. We killed 52 of them in the initial rebellion." And the Vorder was scared that the other Jem'Hadar would see the same plight as the ones that rebelled. But the one Jem'Hadar with him, he was like, no. He was like, that was their mistake for betraying the founders' trust. He said, we're loyal to the end. We're going to always be loyal. And no matter what the founders do, or no matter what they say, that's what we're here to do. And they're going to die because they don't believe or have respect or loyalty for the founders. And that's just it. Respect and loyalty is two different things. You can't compare them. Right. There's no comparison.
I guess you could
listen. Before you go on, Caleb, I'm sorry, man. I got a couple people that have to go to work right now. I know Stu gotta go fight crime, and Chris gotta bounce. He's got a city league ball game or whatever he meant by that. I'm sorry, but
No,
so my bad.
Yeah,
but,
I got another pod coming up too, so I gotta.
Yeah. So we gotta. But Cooks, did you have any last minute thing?
Oh no, that was good right there. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. That conversation pretty much took the rest of it, but it was I was glad everybody got to express their points. That's the best part about it. I'm glad to hear everybody's point of view, and I'm glad I could come.
The Star Trek episode is called "Till the End." Till the end, check it out. Deep Space
Nine. You already know. Cook's pick of the week. But yeah, other than that, much love to all y'all. You already know. You know what I'm saying? And I want to give a shout out to L.A. Cunningham. I'll be talking with her Friday morning. So you know what I'm saying. Anyone world like y'all, hey, it's big. It's getting big and big. It's already big, but it's starting to really get big now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So y'all got all my respect, man. And like I said, I follow all y'all pages. Caleb, I gotta find you so I can follow your page if I don't already. And other than that, y'all got. Hey, I'm rolling with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop and comics, always love and. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, Kush 24, I'm here. I'm just listening. I'm here. Much love to everybody.
Sweet.
Yeah, man. And next week,
sweet.
We'll be back, man. Of course, we'll do you'll see us this weekend 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for DC Day on Saturday. Then of course Monday we'll be back for hip hop and comics at 6:30 p.m. And then Wednesday we have another member of the Any World family. And the following Wednesday after that. So we'll be talking to you guys for some time to come. And shout out to the chat, everybody in the building, Lazarus, Joshua's Multiverse Comics Parade, everybody, L.A. Cunningham, Ace Johns. If I don't say your name, I'm sorry, but it's a lot of you guys, man. And I really appreciate everybody coming in here. Lance was great Monday. Shout out to Lance Lucero, Amber Nicole in the building, everybody, man. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. And again, 6:30 p.m. Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, every week. Check us out.
Sweet.
So peace out, everybody.
Peace.
See y'all.
Hey, see you guys. Thanks.
Later.